The summer of Conclave has finally arrived for Australia. Throughout the last half of 2024, audiences have twisted and memed this film to the point of others not knowing what the story is actually about. From calling it Conclave Summer, playing off Charlie XC's ex's Brat Summer, from memes about vaping and the when you accidentally become important at work, as well as, of course, trying to be its own version of Barbenheimer with Cocked. Conclave and Wicked, even if the two films came out within 2 different months/years in Australia. The winner of a Golden Globe Best Screenplay for 2025, as well as one of the best pictures for AFI in 2025. Conclave is a film that is PG rated in Australia, which for me, I'm actually quite surprised about because most religious movies at least earn an M rating, but I'm not going to go full Karen on that. As I stated already, audiences don't know what they're getting into. I saw a trailer and I don't really know what I was watching. This is the only poster I've seen. Lovely Ralph Fiennes, with Ralph Fiennes, Stanley Tucci, John Lithgow, Isabella Rossellini, directed by Edward Berg and Peter Strushkin. Sorry, I can't read that small font. And it's now out January 9th. I can't tell you what this film is about. I have to see it, and even still, all I know is that it's about religion. All I know is that a few people got their feathers ruffled because it's about religion, and all I know is that it's being memed to oblivion. But that's okay, so let me tell you my actual thoughts on Conclave. There's something so fascinating about politics and religion, neither of which I completely understand, and I still get confused on Australian politics, let alone overseas politics. And then you factor in religion and I'm just like, I don't know. I go to church when there's weddings and there's funerals and with baptisms. That's about it. Like, I'm not a church girly, I'm open-minded. I was raised to be open-minded on all sorts of faiths and to never belittle anyone whose faith is different. Not that I really am part of anything. But watching Conclave is very political in the way that it's done. It feels like we're let in on a secret that we're not supposed to be let in. I think it's quite fascinating with the camera angles, and I said this with Nosferatu when I saw this as well, but with the way that Conclave does their camera angles, it almost feels as if we're part of the church. It feels as if we are I can't even think of the names, the clergies and the fathers and those people. Sorry, I'm completely mentally blanked on what they're called. It feels as if we're part of them. There are times when the camera is straight on to the actors and you're like, are they talking to me? Am I the one-on-one conversation we're having? Am I part of this audience who's supposed to be writing down a name to vote for who the next pope is? That's the feeling I'm getting. And with the way that the actors are blocking the scene, this is what I find interesting. Now, most movies would make it, particularly a movie like this, would make it where the speaker would be center stage. But most of the time, the actors are off center. They're either to the left of the camera or to the right of the camera, leaving the center completely blank, which I assume is necessary to do to the fact that they're not important in the sense, they're not as if they're the Pope, they're not as if they're hierarchy that the world needs to care about. So I think it's very clever that all these fathers, clergymen? No. Y'all know what I mean. Are off center, they're non-centered, and the only times they are is when they're voting or when Lawrence, which is Ralph Fiennes' character, is having a key speech that needs to be held of importance. I also think it's quite fascinating, and this is why I think it's to do with politics as well, is unlike real life politics, it's not everyday people voting for who's going to be the government. It's the faith themselves. It's people from different countries coming to vote for who's who, which I think is very clever. Why can't politics just do that? Like, we don't really care for majority of it anyway. Like, if y'all follow Australian politics, you know that by the time we vote for someone, they get kicked out within 2 weeks. So why can't politics just be like in-house voting, just like this? So I think that's quite fascinating and the difference. But in sense, again, with the politics, we want a white man. We want a white man who's in value with old school traditions, particular traditions that are not warranted in whatever year that this movie's trying to apply that it's set in. specifically with the reveal of the Pope at the end. That Pope breaks traditions, and I think this is very fascinating, and I think it's just the way that I see the world, is when I watch this and seeing popes of different colours, I was like, hold on, I'm dumb. Since when is Roman churches multicolored? Like, I've always imagined church to be a white man world, and I like how that experienced me to be a lot more open-minded in a sense, because I'm like, hold on, no wait, I need to reprogram myself, I need to rethink. This movie gives you the chance to think, it gives you the dialogue, it gives you a reason to be like, let's not be so close-minded. I like how it's very clear-cut on its answers. It's very clear-cut, even with the colours. The different colours of the cardinals, that's the word, sorry, people walk past and they're talking about, I was like, cardinals, that's what I was after. How the cardinals are represented by colours as well, and by their outfits, which again is assuming by the way that faiths are, you are represented by what you wear and the colours that represent the church. But also with the set design, it's very dark colours, it's very grey, it's very black, it's very red. It feels as if it's its own little nation, and it plays with how little control, I guess, in a sense that religion is a hot topic, regardless of whether you are a believer or not. You know it's a hot topic. You do know that you feel as if religion doesn't listen to you because of your sexuality, because of your gender, because of your race. But in the sense, with this, it feels as if it's so narrow-minded that when it tries to go outside its own boundaries, it's like, we gotta talk about this, but also like, can we sweep it under the carpet? I can see why Conclave won the best screenplay for the Golden Globes, because it is an absolute fantastic movie. It will have you thinking, it will have you open-minded, it will have you with a lot more dialogue than you walked in wanting to have. So if you have not already, as you can see, it came out January 9th in Australia. Go see Conclave. Go see it, support it. And yes, even though it's religious, it is not preachy religious. And I say that as somebody who is not religious.